We're on the campus of St. Cloud State University and the home of 88.1 KVSC just to find out a little bit about how radio works.
How radio works is it's just a huge smorgasbord of just different entities just acting together to basically make, I don't know, people or music just come out of your radio or speakers. So a lot of times it takes just like a program director that will oversee a lot of the programs, make sure everything's running, everyone's showing up, everyone's on time, basically someone there to kind of hold down an administrative position. And you could also argue it's the same thing for a station manager as well as operational engineer. But you have the engineers that basically fix everything that's broken, keeps everything up to date, up to code, make sure all the licenses work. In our thing, we also have a production department which kind of just puts it all together, such as, you know, pushes, promos, CSAs, syndicated programming for our news events and news features. That they kind of make sure everything keeps running on schedule and on time. And then there's music directors that basically listen to the music, make sure it sounds good for the format of the station itself, and just make sure everything's clean, edited, all good for airplay.
KVSC St. Cloud is equipped with a handful of soundproof rooms throughout the station, including a news booth, music library, production studios, one professional as well as one equipped for training purposes, a multi-track as well as performance studio, and of course the infamous on-air studio, where we visit with Stephen from the music department.
At KVSC, I'm part of the music department, and basically what I do on a day-to-day basis is I talk to promoters on different music that we're getting in or what we're doing when it comes to music. Also set up interviews with different artists that are out there. We talk about what is coming in and what is coming out, and then we put the music in here for the radio station.
I even found myself stumbling into the retired artists and media section right here at KVSC. I caught up with music director Alan Gall to find out how KVSC is enrolled with its community. Thanks for joining me today, Alan. Tell me a little bit about the community involvement and how the station gives back to the folks around the Granite City.
Well, the station's in a kind of unique situation where, you know, it has to give back. The airwaves are public, and we rely on listener support, and we deliver unique content as well as, you know, possibilities for the community to get involved. We have our annual trivia marathon. That's 50 hours of nonstop trivia questions, and it's just a huge event, our yearly event. We also give away guest passes to local shows, support local artists with very local genre-specific shows. And so those are just a few things that our station does.
And what does the trivia weekend entail? I mean, what kind of prizes do you actually give away?
Well, the prizes for winning trivia is essentially bragging rights until next year.
Bragging rights, nice.
Yep, we have teams in Canada, New York,
wow.
Alaska, I believe.
Okay. And how many people do you say, roughly ballpark figure, turn out for this event?
We have hundreds, if not roughly 1,000 people competing or on the competing end of the marathon, but we have roughly 100 or so volunteers down at the station throughout the whole weekend. It's usually early in February, so just when cabin fever starts to set in, we give, you know, everyone in Minnesota, when they're snowed into their basements, something to do.
Yeah, and it's amazing to me that since this is an educational radio station and all student run for the most part, what makes it work? I mean, how do you guys continue to fund? And I know a lot of the announcers, or if not all of them, are volunteers. But how do you fund something like this? Where does the money come from?
Absolutely, all of our on-air DJs are volunteers. We do not get paid to broadcast or to be announcers. I think it's just a symbiotic compassion between the community and our station. We deliver specific content that relates to this community. We deliver local news, Husky sports, and, you know, we give away a lot of stuff to our listeners, concert tickets, stuff like that.
So many things have to happen in preparation for the various shows that are aired daily here at KVSC. Students prepare and edit content, pick out the specific music selection for that particular shift, as well as man the phones with all the call-ins. Go ahead and tell us a little bit about why radio is still continuing to be free for all of its listeners.
Mostly, it's, from my understanding, it's a lot of legislation that was passed over the years to make sure and ensure that radio is free and it's public airwaves. So if you are not operating under the standards that has been basically established by previous generations, such as, you need someone there that will be able to answer a phone call if something happens, like an emergency or something. That way you can get on the air and alert people of some sort of disaster, such as like a tornado warning or a snowstorm, or even like, I believe there was a North Dakotan town that had a train went off the tracks and it had like a bunch of nuclear waste. And so there was no one at that radio station, Minot, North Dakota, and ended up just having a huge ruckus, and the FCC decided that there has to be someone there. And basically, if you're not doing your job, you can be taken over and taken off the air.
As students filter out of KVSC and other educational RAN studios across the United States, they might find themselves in a whole new professional atmosphere. I traveled to Baxter, Minnesota to catch a glimpse of what it's like in the life of someone who talks radio for a living. Tommy Weiss, 4 years into his radio career, shared a little bit of his production and on-air operations on his station WJJY. I happened to catch a little bit of his All Request 80 show and some of the very interesting calls he receives on a given Saturday night. What were the 4 names of the daughters on the Cosby Show? And even people who've been around radio for 30+ years gave us a little spin on how they conduct their radio.
Cool 103.5, we've got them, your favorites from way back when, and indeed the doctor is in. I'm here to make that pain go away with non-fatal mega doses of your favorites from way back when. And by the way, don't forget, when I need to know something, I just ask myself.
So from an educational student-run radio station to a career-based station, radio is a necessity that we will all continue to use for a very long time. And any additional thoughts that you think we might need to know?
I would say there's a lot of temptation to go onto online sources such as Spotify, Pandora, all these different like DJ services online. Whereas I think it's beneficial to keep it on a local station just so you can get like local content, because a lot of times you think you're getting this like super independent underground kind of thing on the internet, which in some cases you are, and you're finding talent from across the globe that you never thought you would. Same time, if you're completely neglecting those in your own backyard that are trying to produce that kind of music, you're not really doing anything to help yourselves. So,
or your community.
Exactly. So just keep your community in mind, and keep supporting local stations in order to get local content on the air.
Perfect. Thanks, man.
And when it comes to like say severe weather, be it a snowstorm or even class cancellation, being this is a school radio business here, do you find that having the online streaming helps significantly?
I think so. I think the majority of our listeners we listen through an old-fashioned radio, if you will. But even so, we are online. We stream online. We have new online outlets. Our online sports stream. Just starting St. Cloud Somali Radio for a different, to appeal to a different part of our community, as well as give information on that community to the greater population. But yeah, I feel like the online capabilities are very important, and that's part of where our community funding goes.
What do you think the best thing about public radio is to you?
I think the best thing about public radio is just the connection it has with its community. It's one of the only mediums that can really deliver a community-based programming, such as news or sports coverage, or just the local news, just saying that there's a thunderstorm warning for said county, smaller county, and there's someone looking out for these people.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, hey, thanks for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Any additional thoughts you'd like our viewers to know about KVSC here in St. Cloud?
Tune in every Thursday, 1 to 4 p.m. I'm on the Afternoon Progressive Rock Show.
It's a beautiful thing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Being that we're a public and educational station, we rely on pledge support, grants, a lot of like public donations, and like right now we're currently in a pledge drive, so we have like callers that would call in and they'll actually pledge a certain amount of money just so we can keep on our airways, and we have a set budget on what we can do, and then we have like a bunch of grants that will help us allow us to basically do everything else, such as perform like or put on like concerts, certain programming that needs to acquire to order to get the grants. So it's just like a long list of that.
How many paid employees actually work at KVSC?